This is how one chemical is literally controlling every single decision you make, damn near every single decision you make, and how you actually can take control of it over just like small little decisions throughout your day. This chemical is dopamine. I have a list right here of things to. I can go off on tangents and rant pretty hard, so this will just keep me on track, to not waste your time and to let you get like as much value as quickly as possible out of this video, because I don't want to just sit here and rant to you. Firstly, it's not really talked about. Like, dopamine, if you're unaware, dopamine is the chemical of like, alright, if I feel like I want to go and get fast food, if I feel like I'm craving Skittles, or I'm craving M&Ms, the urge and the craving, that is dopamine. Dopamine is the thing that gets you to go and actually like do the thing. Get in your car, drive to the gas station, drive to the store, and do the thing. Dopamine is the thing that gets you to hit your vape first thing in the morning, or when you're thinking about it, when you have that urge, that's dopamine. Dopamine is the thing that gets you to go out and have drinks with your friends. Dopamine is the thing that gets you to roll a joint, or all of that. It is the urge chemical. If you feel urges in your life, you feel pulled to, like drawn to something, and you want to do something really bad, that is dopamine affecting you. So, dopamine in vices. So, for example, like the weed, like the nicotine, like the alcohol. The reason why this affects you so much, and the reason why it is so addicting per se, obviously certain chemicals are more addicting than other chemicals. Like weed is nowhere near as actually addicting as nicotine is. But the fact of the matter, dopamine in vices and in actual chemicals and in actual substances, it's triggered, like those, when you hit your vape, it triggers a really hard spike in the dopamine. And then when you don't have it, or say you run out of juice in your pod, or say you don't have any more, you don't have the vape for a day, or it dies, your dopamine dips way below baseline. There's a very fierce, sharp decline. Why I'm speaking about this and ranting about this to begin with is to teach you and to hopefully push you to start finding dopamine in natural ways, not just through the vape, or not just through some good food, or not just through some sweets or snacks or candy or some shit like that. Dopamine is released when you go and work out, when you go and run, when you do these things, because it's like, it gives you something to pat yourself on the back for. So it doesn't release like hard and spike like it does with nicotine or with candy or shit like that, but it's a gradual incline and a slow taper, as opposed to just like boom boom. It's like a natural. That's why it's so powerful when people are quitting vices to like pick up running or pick up a physical activity that they haven't before. That's what was successful for me. When I picked up running and that was my shit, like I was replacing my dopamine and my whole fucked up dopamine scale. I was actually building upon like a healthy, natural dopamine flow within my days and within my mind. Dopamine is also the reason that like when you quit a vice, when you're trying to quit something, when you're trying to quit drinking, vaping, smoking, whatever it is, why you feel like such dog shit, like you feel irritable, you feel pissed off, you feel moody, you feel confused, and like the whole world is gray and everything sucks and nothing's fun, is because your dopamine is dipping way below baseline, because it's not getting triggered. Like it's building up, but there's no sort of release that it's actually getting from your vice, from whatever your thing is. This is why it's so important to go and replace it and start building on your natural healthy dopamine flow, as opposed to just sitting there in the space. Like that's why so many people who cut it cold turkey end up relapsing, is because they sit in that space and it feels like dog shit, but they're not doing anything to actually repair their healthy natural dopamine levels in other ways, such as physical activity. When you're getting dopamine from physical activity and repairing its natural levels in your brain and its natural flow, not only are you repairing the natural flow of it, but your motivation will sit at a higher baseline. Your actual motivation, and I always say, don't sit here and rely on motivation, because your motivation isn't your friend. One day you're going to feel good, one day you're going to feel like not motivated. But your natural daily motivation is going to sit higher, because your dopamine like levels, or your baseline, is being raised, because you're building upon it in natural ways, using physical activity and shit that's hard. Like, without getting into the science and shit like that, I just think of it like giving yourself something to pat yourself on the back for at the end of the day. Giving yourself something to be proud of at the end of the day is going to, if you repeat that day in and day out, every single day, every week, every month, you're going to just like idle at this baseline of like happier with yourself, more motivated with your life, more optimistic about your own experience and your own ability to actually go and do shit that like you don't want to do for the sake of yourself feeling better at the end of the day. Why I stress this with like quitting a vice and why this was so, for one, I stress it because this is what worked for me. Like I had been vaping for 9 years. I was drinking every other day, if not every day. I was smoking weed every single day, high all day, and I quit all of them. And I say all of this because this is what worked for me. You know, I hear a lot of talk about people being like, oh, cold turkey is the only way to do it. But so many people try cold turkey and so many people relapse off of cold turkey. And the reason being is because they're not expressing dopamine in other areas of their life. And why I go so into diet is because diet is one of those ways, one of the easiest, quickest ways that you can start expressing your own control over your own urges today, right now. You feel the urge to get some candy, limit that urge. Don't go and get candy. You feel like you want a Gatorade instead of some water, get the water instead of the Gatorade. Like little tiny decisions like that, starting to build on your dopamine and like you're starting to build your ability to resist the urge is huge. And when people don't build that ability in any other standpoint of their life and then think they're going to quit their vice, you're making it so much more difficult on yourself because you haven't built skills and laid some sort of groundwork to be able to do so with something that you actually have a physical and mental addiction to. This, in my opinion, is the best first step that you can take if you are trying to get off weed, if you're trying to get off vaping, off alcohol, whatever it is you're trying to get off of. Because like I said, you are building a base. You know, it doesn't have to be this like super, super strong base, but like tiny little bits at a time that you can start expressing your ability to resist urges in other areas of your life with things that you're not so severely addicted to, but maybe might just be like more habit sort of a deal. When you can express your ability to start limiting those things and limiting those urges and controlling those urges, you're gonna make your life so much easier when that day comes around that you're like, all right, I'm done vaping, I'm done smoking, I'm done drinking. I promise you, like, this is what I did. That combined with pairing it with physical exercise that was repairing my natural dopamine flow and scales and baseline in my brain, like, that's the best way you can set yourself up for success. Like, starting to build on the ability to resist the urge in other areas of your life, and then when you are quitting, replace it with something that allows you to be like proud of yourself. Like you're identifying with something else. You've replaced this shitty habit with something that's like actually good, not something that's just like distracting you, not just like watching Netflix or just like going and fucking off and just distracting yourself with something else, but like actually doing something that's benefiting you and your body and your health. You start to align your actions and your decisions in accordance to that person, as opposed to the person who just like always gives into the urge, always gives into like feeling good and feeling comfortable. When you get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable, everything in your life gets easier. Every decision you make, every feeling in your head, every stress you have, every bit of anxiety, it all gets better because you've expressed your ability to sit in it and like be calm and not freak the fuck out and see it through and be consistent enough to see the benefits daily. I didn't start running because I wanted to be some like fantastic fucking runner. I wanted to like compete really hard or like anything like that. I started running and I was able to continue running almost every single day of the week, more than 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 miles a day, because I just simplified it to when I go to work, because I was waiting tables and bartending, when I have similar interactions that used to like really get under my skin or piss me off, on days that I would have gone and ran in the morning, those same interactions that used to piss me off did not piss me off nearly as much anymore. Of course, they're still like semi-annoying and like just people are annoying to begin with, but like having that in the back of my head of like, bro, it's not that deep. Like I literally was like full sweat mile 6 this morning, like pushing through. Like I'm not gonna sit here and let this ruin my day. Like if anything were to have ruined my day, it would have been that thing that I went and did in the morning that was like hard as shit, that I didn't feel like doing, but I forced myself to do it anyways. Like reinforcing your ability to just like do something that you don't feel like doing for the benefit of yourself is fucking huge. Like, I promise you, anyone watching this, like, this is the key. If you cannot get yourself to start just little by little, the tiniest inkling of, like, resisting an urge, and then combining that with going and doing something that you don't feel like doing, like going on a run, going to the gym, fucking going on, like, a swim, like, or whatever your thing is, like, I am telling you, if you want to see a better version of yourself, this is the way to fucking do it. If you want to quit a vice, this is the way to fucking do it. Build upon, like, obsessing over the new healthy version of yourself and obsessing over, like really take note. Like, go and run, go for a lift. Like, even if you work, like, if you don't work, like, insanely early in the morning and, like, you have some time. I was fortunate because I worked, like, night shifts at a restaurant, and so I had the majority of my day beforehand before having to go in, and so I could do stuff. I could go and run, I could go and lift this and that. But even if you're not doing it beforehand, if you wake up really early in the morning, whatever, at some point in the day, if you go and you do something unfamiliar to you, like running, like if you normally lift, go on a run. If you normally run, go for a lift. If you do both, go for a swim. And actually push yourself through that point that you feel like you want to quit just for a little bit. To give yourself something to, like, pat yourself on the back for, to be proud of. Your days are going to get better. I fucking promise you. Like, I fucking promise you. And I'm trying to speak this in a way that's not all like, this is how dopamine interacts with your brain and blah, 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 and all your neurons firing, like this and that and the other. I'm like, when you resist an urge, it gets easier to resist bigger urges when you do it more and more and more often. If you never resist an urge and then try to resist the big urge that you're actually addicted to, you're going to fucking fail and it's going to be impossible. Look, I'm not discounting the people who cold turkey and just said fuck it, but usually they have some sort of canon event or something that happened that really pushed them to just be like, fuck this is not me anymore, I'm done, sort of a thing. So resisting the urge and then giving yourself something early in the day to be proud of yourself for at the end of the day, so that when things inherently go wrong or don't go your way during your day, you have something that, like, the whole day could have been so shit, but I did this, but I went and ran. And then if you can stack that, like, okay, I went and ran and I got a lift in and I went to jujitsu and I went on a swim and I stretched, and the more things you can give yourself to be proud of you for on your own time, outside of your job and the monotony of your life and the things that you just have to get done to pay bills and make it by and survive, the more things that you can do outside of that make you feel good and give you something to be proud of, the more smooth your days are going to be. I fucking assure you. And if you have issues implementing this, don't hesitate to hit me up, because this is exactly what I do, is help people implement this into their own lives. And I'm fucking hugely passionate about this because I know it works. I've fucking lived it. I used to be addicted for the entire, like, the majority of my life. I was just addicted and in a loop of what I called the trifecta, which was the alcohol, the weed, and the fucking vape. All I could think about coming home was just, like, giving into those. So I'm telling you, like, this will improve your life. This will improve your days. Without a doubt, in my fucking mind, your life will get better if you start doing this shit.